In another video, I talked about the books that I would recommend for internal auditors. And in doing so, I mentioned that they should also understand risk management. And there's a number of books that I would recommend in addition to my own. Special mention goes to my friend, Grant Purdy, a real grandfather when it comes to risk management. He was very heavily involved, and if you like, the grandfather of what is now the ISO 31000 Global Risk Management Standard. So he did a book with Roger Estelle, which merits our attention because he basically says that risk management is the wrong way to do things. And it should already be about deciding. I don't totally agree with him. I think he has a point, but being Grant is a good idea to consider looking at this one. Another one which merits some attention is from Brian Hagan. Brian has a different perspective. He's, again, much more about decision making. He's much more about strategy, management, and success. And he comes at the concept of risk and opportunity from a different perspective. So I think this is a good book, Problem, Risk, and Opportunity by Brian Hagan. Having said which, of course, I'm going to recommend my own books. And the granddaddy of all of them is this one, World Class Risk Management. This, I'm happy to see, is continuing to be in high demand. I know it's been on the required reading for a number of risk management university courses. And to me, the value is it takes the existing frameworks and standards and goes a little bit further and talks about how risk management really needs to be part of how you manage the organization for success. So this one, there is, if you're in non-profits, there is another version of it for non-profits, which you can find. If you can't find it, let me know. It was in partnership with the Non-Profit Risk Management Center that focuses on non-profits. So that's always worth interesting. Now, one of the things that I found early on is that executives and board members don't really understand risk management, and they don't have the time to read such a big book. So with that in mind, and the concept that the word risk has such a negative connotation because it's seen sometimes as a reason not to do something rather than a reason to proceed and manage your organization for success, I wrote this slim book, Risk Management in English, Plain English, a guide for executives, to really lay out what it should be about. And this is as an intro basically for any organization if they're trying to get support and understanding from the executives into effective risk management, my version of it, if you like, then I like this one. But the more recent one is Risk Management for Success, which is, I really believe that risk management is all about enabling the leaders of the organization to make the right decisions, to take the right risk for success. And that means understanding not only the hazards, but also the opportunities, and how to balance both those risks and opportunities to make the right decisions and achieve objectives. Yes, you do need to watch a number of very serious risks to the enterprise or sources of risk to the enterprise, but they should be assessed in terms of, not dollars, but in terms of how they would affect the success of the organization. So that's what this is about. And especially if you've already read and you like the risk management, the world-class risk management, this one is I think, perhaps my best work. Although, as a former IT executive and IT auditor for many years, before that, I was quite frustrated with the way in which people are understanding and assessing risk from technology. Um, the different standards from NIST, from FAIR, from ISO, they just don't cut it for me. They really don't, because they are far too technical. They express everything in technical terms rather than in business terms. And there's this big gap between what the IT risk practitioners are saying and what the executives who are leading the organization understand. So I wrote first, Making Business Sense of Technology Risk, which considers all different kinds of technology risk, from major systems implementation to cyber and information security. But then more recently, I updated that and refined it because there's so much focus on cyber that I wanted to give that special attention. So understanding the business risk that is cyber, for me, is something that every risk practitioner, every IT auditor, every CRO, everybody involved in trying to understand when it's right to take cyber risk. Because you can't eliminate it. There's only so much you can absorb. But in addition, people are looking at cyber risk by itself when it's only one of multiple risks related to any decision, any business decision. And this explains how that can be achieved, as in fact do the other books, but this one focuses on cyber. In the same way and in a consistent way as with world-class risk management, which is that when you make a decision, you don't make a decision based on one risk. You base it on all the risks and opportunities, all of them, that may result from the decision. Or, in fact, you may have to make a decision because of the existence of all of these. But you look at it from the big picture point of view. And that's the theme of all of these books. I hope they're useful. Please feel free to suggest other books. I know that there's excellent ones, for example, by Larry Hubbard, by Sam Savage, and others, which are more into the technical side. But in terms of what are we trying to achieve and how can we get buy-in and support for risk management from the people running the business, I think we should start. My own personal view, of course, I'm biased with some of what I've just mentioned. Thank you.